Hello, everyone. This is the weekly review for World Geography and Early World History from December 7th to December 11th. Our four-class focus this week, we reviewed responses to earlier exit tickets and then filled out an exit ticket for capable problem solving. And then we switched gears and began working on empathy as our next executive functioning skill. Major components of empathy would include being aware of the learning needs of those around you and also listening to opinions that differ from your own and doing it with patience. Academically, we talked about Alexander the Great and the Hellenistic empires. We focused on the political and cultural impact of those empires. We talked about some of the background history, with Philip being Alexander's father. And after his death, Alexander took over the empire and expanded it to be the largest empire the world had known to that time. We also focused on, after Alexander's death, the Hellenistic empires that emerged from that time, including the Seleucids, the Antigonids, and the Bactrians. And then we focused on the Hellenistic era and Alexandria, and how basically under Hellenism you had Greek influences that were going on throughout the world, a combination of the Greeks as well as the regions that they came into contact with. And we also talked about the classic Roman Mediterranean. In that large document, we focused on imperial expansion, Rome's transition from a republic into an empire, how Greek and Hellenistic influences impacted the Roman Empire, particularly around like mythology and the adoption of their gods. We talked about economic practices like slavery and continuing or coming up with universal weights, measures, and currency to make the economy function more easily. And then we talked about the social, political, and economic structures within the empire as well, particularly the social structure where it was a patriarchy where husbands and fathers had dominance over the society. We also had a writing prompt about Greek philosophical traditions and state building, naming advancements of the Greeks. This is part of what we've been doing right along in preparation for the summative essay that we'll be doing for Unit 3. And we talked about how those Greek advancements not only met civilization's needs, but how they impacted society. We had a second writing prompt as well. We watched a Monty Python video and discussed whether Roman advancements were beneficial for the people and regions that they had conquered. We made a connection to the United States and asked whether the people the U.S. influences, if the U.S. is indeed a modern-day Rome, whether the improvements that they bring are appreciated by the people to whom the improvements are given. We drew conclusions that in some cases, freedoms and self-determination are more important to conquered peoples than the improvements that the conquerors bring to them. What's coming up next? We're going to wrap up Unit 3 on the classic civilization. We're going to workshop the Unit 3 essay summative assessment, and then begin Unit 4, the post-classical era, where we will focus, in the beginning anyway, on the early Islamic states and the Byzantine Empire. That's it. Take care.